you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to LaFleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro on this Thursday, June 13. You're watching this right now just past 10 p.m. Eastern. But for us, it's actually earlier in the afternoon, and we are at Souvlaki Authentique. We're at the location in Boisbriand. It's a family-operated Greek restaurant with 7 locations. They use fresh Quebec chicken, fresh Quebec pork, both hand-cut, marinated in-house. They're gyros hand-stacked in-house, never frozen. No MSG in any of the recipes. Greek potatoes, not your Yaya's Greek potatoes, a unique lemon sauce. You'll absolutely love it, and it's our second time at a Souvlaki Authentique over the last couple of weeks. We were in Lachine a couple of weeks ago. So once again, 7 locations. And today we're in Boisbriand earlier today. You're watching this a little bit later on at night. Shayne Gaumond is with me. He's one half of the Recruits Draftcast podcast, along with Grant McCagg. And we're going to talk to you about some Montreal Canadiens hockey. A shout out to Betway, a leading global online betting and gaming brand that offers you a leading betting experience. Go on betway.com or scan the QR code to join the action. Must be 18 and over and play responsibly. Very important that you know that. And once again, our NHL draft coverage 2024 will be presented by Betway. There's going to be 3 different podcasts that will be broadcasting live from Vegas. This one, of course, a sick podcast with me, Tony Marinaro, will be one. The Recruits Draftcast podcast with Shayne Gaumond, who will be in Vegas, will be another. And the sick podcast, the Eye Test with Pierre Maguire and Jimmy Murphy, will be another. Okay, so without further ado, also want to thank and all of our partners and all of our sponsors with Energy Transportation Group, with Bittt, the Tibi, and with Playground. And I'll talk to you about them in just a couple of minutes. But without further ado, Shayne Gaumond, what's going on?
Man, Tony, how can I not be doing well right now? We're in beautiful Boisbriand at Souvlaki Authentique. I just ate the most delicious gyro imaginable.
Yes.
The service here is fantastic. I mean, it's a great day today.
It is definitely a great day. And that's why we're here, because we're at Souvlaki Authentique a couple of weeks ago. We liked it so much that we decided to come back. All right. Okay. Yesterday, Eric Engels joined me and we answered a lot of questions, and it seemed like if we wanted to, we could have talked until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning for how many questions that there were. Why don't we do this? Eh? Let's bring in a member of the audience. Huh? Here we go. Get your seat here. You're in. All right. Okay. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Paul Gaudreau. I'm a great sports fan.
Okay.
I'm listening to Sick Podcast every evening.
Okay.
So pretty often live.
Okay. So you don't have a mic here, but my mic, I think, is picking it up. Okay. So it's Paulin Gaudreau.
Yeah.
And you watch the Sick Podcast?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for that. And since you're here, why don't you ask a question? Is there a Habs question that's on your mind?
Yeah. I'm asking who's gonna draft at 5.
Okay.
At the 5 spot.
Qui le Canadien vont repêcher avec le 5e choix?
Yeah, excuse me, this is my first time in English.
C'est correct.
So, but I wonder if do they go with the Russian player Demidov, or do they go with the defenseman?
Shayne and I are going to talk about it, but let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What would you like to see them do with the 5th pick overall?
Well, the problem with this draft, it's it's for sure Celebrini's going to go first. But after that, there's two keys. Do Chicago will go with a defenseman or forward? And then what Columbus is going to do at 4? Because I think that Anaheim's going to go with a defenseman at 3. But which one they're going to take?
So Anaheim will likely take Siliev, based on what we're hearing. And I would imagine that Columbus is going to take either Lindstrom or Demidov if Demidov is available. So at that point, what do the Montreal Canadiens do? Okay, so we'll discuss. That's Pauline's question. Merci beaucoup, mon ami. J'apprécie. All right. We're going to make you sit back down, and pretty soon we're going to call up your friend, and we'll make him ask a question as well. How does that sound, huh? Okay, all right. So that's the question on everyone's mind. I get stopped every day. Who are the Canadiens going to take at 5? And I say, well, tell me who's going to go in the top 4, and I'll have a better idea of who they're going to take at 5.
That's it. I mean, like our friend here said,
Paulin.
Chicago is the key, right? By all accounts, it seems they're going Lev Shunov. He won them over at the Combine. Again, I think you got to give him the award for personality.
Yeah, he won a lot of people over at the Combine. He made a lot of people laugh.
He's very, how can you say this?
Confident?
Charismatic, exactly.
Yeah.
Like very attractive in that sense. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them take the Lev Shunov. Obviously, Chicago is a team that is in need at every position. They're going to go with the player that they feel is going to be best for them moving forward. They in my opinion, they should still go Demidov, because this idea of having Bedard and Demidov for the next 15, 20 years maybe is a league breaker. I mean, if those two pan out together, you're looking at one of the best dynamic duos in the NHL. But
so I'm going to say something crazy here.
Go ahead.
So I've got this mentality of go big or go home, right? So obviously Demidov, they're saying, is, one of the best pure talents in the draft alongside Macklin Celebrini, and maybe the most pure. So there's two ways that Chicago can handle it, right? They either get a guy who could be a 1-2 punch with Connor Bedard. And if you take a look at teams that go far in the playoffs, they usually have a 1-2 punch at the forward position. Or you get a guy who's a horse on the fence, because you have a horse up front. You need a horse on the fence because, of course, you can't be just a one-dimensional hockey team. You're going to need to have balance.
Right.
If Chicago decides on defense, I would take Siliev over Lev Shunov.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
Even though he's a left-handed.
I'm going to tell you why. The reason being is, what's the greater reward? Like, who's got the more possibility for bigger upside, for bigger reward? I mean, Siliev, some people talk, he could be the Chara of the draft.
Okay.
Now, he might be a bust.
Yeah.
Or he might be just average. But if Siliev's going to go 3, and Anaheim's, and by the way, I think Martin Madden Jr. is the best scout in all of hockey.
It's hard to dispute that.
I think he's the best amateur scout in all of hockey.
You look at what Anaheim's accomplished recently in the drafts. They're loading up one of the best prospect pools in the NHL. I absolutely love what Anaheim's doing, and they're going to add another top talent here at 3rd overall. I fully trust, like you said,
Mason McTavish.
Imagine he could be your second line center. This guy is a first liner on every team. He could be your second line center because of how much depth they have right now.
Carlson.
Leo Carlson, yeah.
Yeah. But Zegras.
Sure.
But take a look at past picks going back to Gibson, going back to whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Martin Madden's track record, it's unbelievable.
And we haven't mentioned the defense yet. On the left side, they have Olen Zellweger. They have Pavel Mintyukov, right?
Yeah.
They also have Tristan Luneau on the right side, Noah Warren. They're loading up, right?
Yeah.
Lucas Dostal in net. Come on. Like that, Anaheim is going to be a force very soon. I will put my hand in the fire here. I love what Anaheim's doing, and I think they're going to pick a great player here at 3. But you talk about upside with defensemen. I'm going to throw out another name at you, Zane Parekh.
Yes.
Zane Parekh had one of the best OHL draft season as a defenseman ever.
He didn't have a great playoff.
Maybe an injury, some things we don't know. But
maybe, but in playoffs, you're supposed to battle through the injuries, because everyone has injuries come playoff time.
For sure. But if you talk about upside, right? Right-handed shot, probably the best offensive upside in this draft. He's also a guy that should be in the conversation. I do believe that they'll go Lev Shunov or Siliev because of the all-around game, but he's not a guy that we should dismiss too early.
All right, so if you had to bet right now, and Betway's listening and watching, who would you put $1 on the Montreal Canadiens picking? At 5. And I know it all depends on who's going out at 4, and we can't look into our crystal ball. We don't know.
Yeah. With everything that we've seen recently on social media, this idea that Demidov could fall to 5, I still don't see it. I still can't wrap my head around 4 teams, 3, passing on a talent like that. So I'm still going to go Caden Lindstrom at 5. I think that is the most realistic outcome. But hey, if Demidov,
I'm going to say something here, and I preface it by saying, and I've always said this, right? I don't follow the young picks religiously unless you're doing a podcast that specializes on draft picks and prospects. Unless you're running your own independent scouting service, like Grant and you have a podcast, and like Grant is running, and unless that's what you're paid to do. Everyone who says that they scout all these kids and this and that, and they work radio and they work TV and they work this and that, it's all BS. It's pavreda, okay? But I'm going to tell you this. Are you ready for it?
Hold on. Let me put my seatbelt. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I take Iginla over Lindstrom.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad. I've been one of the biggest Iginla supporters since the beginning of the season. He has all the tools. And he has the pedigree, right? He grew up in a household with a Hockey Hall of Famer. That cannot be taught.
I'm also looking at need, by the way, okay? And I know you're supposed to take the best player available. I'm also looking at need when I make that comment, because I think the Canadiens are going to be okay with Suzuki and Doc at the center ice position. Mind you, it gives you the flexibility to move Doc to the wing if you absolutely wanted to. And we know that Doc's very good on the wing. Take a look at what he did with Suzuki and Caulfield 1 year ago when he played on the wing. It was really, really good.
Absolutely.
Really, really good. But I just think that, okay, he's not as big as Lindstrom, and I get that. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Lindstrom's a wrong pick. And maybe I'm scared off by the whole back thing that we heard a little bit, even though he's trying to sway that and saying, hey, listen, he trains 5, 6, 7 times a week, very intensely. Iginla really impressed me in the playoffs.
He was fantastic.
He elevated, and we're watching the playoffs, Shane. We're watching it. There's no space on the ice anymore. The game is so fast. The rinks, of course, have never got bigger, and you're looking for space, and the second you move, it looks like you have somebody in your face, and you're getting hit.
Right.
And I just think that there needs to be an onus on character and guys that could elevate in the playoffs, and Tidge Iginla, if the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, whoever drafts him is going to end up doing pretty well. But I said this yesterday with Eric, and I'm going to say it again. I think the Canadiens would like to be in a situation where, ideally, they would draft one of Lindstrom or Demidov, and one of Iginla and Seneca. I think they'd like to have 2 players in the top 10, and that's why I think it's possible that they trade pick 26, they trade another draft pick, and they trade a prospect to try and get into the top 10. I think it's possible they do that. I also think it's possible they trade 26, they trade a draft pick, and they trade a prospect, and they get a player who's going to make them better right away.
Right. Well, I'd like to go on a date with Sidney Sweeney, right? We all would like that to happen, but who are the suitors? Who are the teams that you can get their pick? What do you give up for that?
New Jersey's already said that they're looking to trade the 10th pick overall.
But they'd be looking for a goaltender. I don't think we have the goaltender to give, right? Buffalo said the same thing.
No, you have a goaltender. You just don't want to give him because you don't want to give Jacob Fowler.
Yeah.
Mind you,
that.
New Jersey, you would think, wants a goalie who could step in right away.
Bingo.
Okay. All right. So would you trade Montembeault and have Fowler do the jump right away? You wouldn't do that either, right? You wouldn't do that either.
I think New Jersey wants to aim higher than Montembeault. I'm a big Montembeault fan, but for 10th overall, they're looking at Markstrom. They're looking at
Markstrom. Yeah.
I don't think that there's a fit there with New Jersey. Now with Buffalo, what I've heard, they've been looking for a top 6 forward. The top 6 forwards that the Habs have, they're not going to trade.
No.
So
as a matter of fact, Canadiens need to add 2 top 6 forwards.
Exactly. So I don't see the suitor.
Yeah.
If Kent, the Wizard, is able to swindle something, by all means, I'd be thrilled, right? But I wouldn't hold my breath. I wouldn't hold my breath.
It's the Sick Podcast that is brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. Also brought to you in part by Bittt at Tibi, brewed in Quebec and a winner of a dozen international awards. Bittt at Tibi offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. Bittt at Tibi, embrace your true nature. Let me bring in my friend over here. Just make sure you don't trip over the camera here. Grab a seat next to me. Why don't you put this on? And hold on a second. Why don't we give him this? Put this on. Introduce yourself. Can we get it over here? Yeah. There we go. Look at that.
Hey, thank you, Tony.
Bienvenue, bienvenue, bienvenue. Present yourself.
So I'm Sébastien Gauthier. I've been a listener for quite a while now.
Hold on a second. Paulin, are you guys related? Is that the same family name or?
No, it's just an old friend of mine.
Okay, he's an old friend of yours. All right, okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Oh, he's Gaudreau. Okay,
Yeah.
Paulin is Gaudreau and you're Gauthier.
Gauthier. Yeah.
All right, okay. Where do you live?
I live in the West Island, actually.
In the West Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. Along with the Cavalleros.
Yeah, exactly.
They live off. They live in Kirkland.
in Kirkland. Well, I'm just a bit south in Beaconsfield.
Oh, very nice, very nice. All right, okay. So thanks for dropping by. Souvlaki Authentique right here in Boisbriand. Your question. You have a Habs question for us.
Well, a Habs question. I'd say.
Vas-y en français si tu veux. Je vais traduire.
No. It's okay. I'm perfectly fine. No, it's because we always say that we're lacking elite talent with the Habs. We have a lot of good pieces.
Yeah.
In the rebuild. So my question, I guess, it's related to the draft. Is if Demidov is still available at 5th. Which I don't think he's going to be available, but can the Habs afford not to bounce if he's still available?
Can the Habs afford to pass on Demidov if he's still available?
Exactly. I think
because they've been talking about adding elite talent. And you know what? When we talk about Demidov, and I brought this up before, okay? One of the turning points that accelerated the rebuild with the New York Rangers when Jeff Gordon was there was that Artemi Panarin signed as a free agent and absolutely wanted to sign with the Rangers. And Adam Fox requested a trade and absolutely wanted to be traded to the Rangers. Those two players and their situations accelerated the Rangers rebuild. Panarin, say what you want about him. We're talking about a 100-point potential, and we're talking about a player. It still remains to be seen how far he can get you in the playoffs, but he can have a great regular season that can help you get into the playoffs. The Canadiens don't have that type of player yet. I think Demidov has those characteristics. And so if I would answer your question, I would say that if Demidov is available, I believe the Canadiens will draft him.
Yeah.
I believe. I don't think it's the same situation as the Michkov situation. However, there are some things that are concerning. And that is, when Russian players don't want to stay in Russia and they want to come to North America, their teams kind of give up on their development and they don't put a lot of resources into them, and they're kind of and so that's a little bit of a concern, I think. But I'll answer the question. I think if he's available, no, I don't think the Canadiens can pass on him. I think they're going to have to draft him. But I'd like to see the Canadiens be able to make a move to get another top 10 pick. There's too many players. Look, Iginla and Seneca, say what we want. Everyone wants them to have a Caden Lindstrom. Everyone wants them to have a Demidov. But even Iginla and Seneca, they're exactly what the doctor ordered for this team. This team needs players like that. Especially if Seneca's 6'4" now, or close to 6'4", 6'3.5".
Yeah, he's a monster.
Man, they need a player like that.
Yeah.
Right-handed shot, can play either wing with soft hands. I don't know if they're going to have the courage to take Seneca 5th, because I don't know of any scouts other than maybe Grant who have him, in their top 10. But
you know what, Tony? If I can just say something, if by any chance Demidov or Lidstrom aren't available at number 5, which is going to be the worst case scenario for the Habs, I believe, I would like them to trade down and maybe pick Trevor Conley, who is probably the third most gifted offensive player after Celebrini and Demidov. I know that your friend Snake is very high on
your
him.
last name is Gauthier, you said, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not Boisvert.
No.
You look like Simon. Are you sure you're not related to Simon the Snake?
No, absolutely.
Boisvert.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
No.
not.
What's his nickname? What do I call him?
O Serpente.
O Serpente. So you want him to draft Trevor Connolly too?
I'd like if
You hear what the Serpent had to say about the scouts who don't have Trevor Connolly in their top 10?
Yeah, I know it's not.
He said, go back to the eye doctor and change your glasses.
Yeah, I know it's not very nice.
Yeah. You, there's no problem. The prescription on those glasses is good?
It's totally right.
So you like what you see from Trevor Connolly?
I do, and I trust Snake's judgment as well.
You trust Snake's judgment too?
Oh,
wow.
Oh yeah, I think he's got a pretty good track record. I mean, obviously he's not gonna drive in the fairway 100% of the time.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Exactly. But yeah, I think he's pretty good. And my philosophy for drafting players, especially in the first round, is swing for the fence. I mean, there's no point in trying to get a third.
Yes
liner.
and no. Yes and no. They swung for the fence on Andre Kostitsyn and it didn't work out. And it ended up being one of the greatest drafts in NHL history, where a lot of guys are going to the Hall of Fame and had Hall of Fame careers. And the Montreal Canadiens, they missed out on that draft. I mean, that 2003 draft, the safe pick would have been Ryan Getzlaf.
Right.
And they picked Andre Kostitsyn at 10.
Yeah.
And, they were going because of the home run, because of all the pure talent that Andre Kostitsyn had.
Yeah.
But sometimes I understand your whole swing for the fences thing, but you can strike out, eh?
Obviously.
And when you go through a rebuild and it's hard, and it's hard for a fan base and it's hard for members of the organization, it's hard for everyone, and you're kind of compensated for the 5th pick overall, which is kind of your reward for a terrible season, and then you're going to swing for the fence and then you're going to strike out. That hurts a lot.
Obviously.
You know what I mean? Thank you for coming by, Souvlaki Authentique.
Hey, well, thank you very much, Tony.
You're very welcome.
I just want to say to the audience that you're the absolute GOAT.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah. Agnello, give him a couple $100, will you, please? All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah. And, it took a while to really see how much he recognizes talent. But the way he went off, you get the feeling this guy here, he knows what he's talking about. Huh?
He gets it.
He gets it. He gets it. Are you looking for somebody on the Recruits Draftcast podcast by any chance? You want to? Hey, boy, this guy wants to. We can bring him in, or hey,
we're all set here with.
Why don't we bring him to Vegas? Why don't we bring him to Vegas?
All right, Sebastien, go to Vegas.
Hey, we'll bring him to Vegas.
Come to Vegas with us. But he's got some fantastic analysis there. I'm also a fan of Trevor Connolly's upside. What I saw at the U18s turned me off, but again, he still has the potential, right? If we go back to last summer at the Linka Gretzky, him and Berkeley Catton tore it up, right? They were the guys there, but
nobody's talking about Berkeley Catton,
which is a shame.
Pure skill,
which is a shame.
His pure skill, is with Trevor Connolly, with Macklin Celebrini, and with Demidov.
I completely agree.
Pure skill, those are the guys. I mean, Berkeley Catton's a human highlight reel. I saw it. Unfortunately, he's on the smaller side, and this is a group. Like, if they didn't have any small players, if every single player on this team was 6 foot tall, maybe with the exception of one of them, I would have told you they should draft Berkeley Catton. But it's tough because they're small.
He'll likely have to go on the wing in the NHL, but still, I think he's a top 6 guy. The upside is absolutely there. I think his, the criticisms with his defensive side and maybe the physicality are a bit overblown. He's not going to be a Caden Lindstrom type of power forward, but he's going to put up points, guaranteed. Like that type of player does not just fizzle out at the NHL level. He's gonna translate. He's a smart player. He's a leader. He was captain for Team Canada at Linka Gretzky.
Yeah,
he scored a goal every game. Every game he scored a goal, at least one. So he's got natural elite skill. I don't know that he'd be my pick at 5, but you have to consider it. You have to.
Experience Playground's world-renowned poker experience with free food and drinks at their cash game tables. A bad beat jackpot that's over $1.1 million and climbing, weekly promotions, daily tournaments, unmatched customer service. Why play anywhere else? Located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal Playground. All right, okay. Also, a shout-out to Mecha Moto. Mecha Moto, I want to talk to you about them. They're a Moto Guzzi, Piaggio, and Vespa dealer, and they've been around for 100 years. The owner there right now, JF, has been there for the last 10 years. And on Thursday, June 27, they're having an all-day open house. Pop in to do road tests. That's what it's all about. They're located at 4398 de la Roche in Mont-Royal. It's mechamoto.ca is the website. You check them out. All right, okay. Among other topics, yes or no to Patrick Laine? It's been known he's on the block. It's also known that he's in the player assistance program. It's also known that he makes $8.7 million over the next couple of years. He's 26 years of age. He's also in the prime of his career, and his value has never been lower because of obviously the problems that he's experiencing in trying to rehabilitate himself. Would you be interested?
Our audience is vehemently saying no.
Yes. Did you hear my proposition yesterday?
Which was?
To Eric. So I said, it's a big if.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
If he's able to get his problems under control, if he's able to rehabilitate himself, if, I'd offer Josh Anderson.
Yeah. Well, if I'm Don Waddell, I'm saying no.
I'll take a 2-year contract at 8.7, and I'll give you a 3-year contract at 5.5.
I don't know that Josh Anderson is the type of player that Columbus is looking to get. Granted, I don't.
Once upon a time, he scored 27 goals for Columbus.
Once upon a time, right? Once upon a time, Patrick Laine scored 40. So it's, I don't know.
So they both need a change of atmosphere.
I agree to that. Again, Columbus is heading in a weird direction. They have win now players, but they're also rebuilding at the same time. Do they want to go young? Do they want to win now? It's really confusing. I'm hoping Don Waddell can set them straight and really decide in which direction they want to go. I think they should build around Adam Fantilli. That is their core piece.
Why do you hope Don Waddell sets them straight? What do you do? You're the president of the Columbus Blue Jackets fan club?
I'm a fan of good hockey.
With you?
I'm a fan of good hockey, okay?
Yeah?
I want to see good hockey. I want to see good players have success. I think Adam Fantilli is an elite player. I think they have great defensemen in Zach Werenski, Adam Jiricek, and Denton Matejchuk. They're building a good core.
David Jiricek.
That's right. Adam is in this draft.
Yeah.
I keep getting them mixed up.
It.
But they're building a good core there.
Yeah.
But then they have guys like Johnny Gaudreau. They still have Boone Jenner. They have Patrick Laine, which kind of dismisses this kind of direction they're going to.
Ken Janssen.
See, here's the thing, right? If you're going to deal
There's huge upside with that player.
That's what I was going to say, Tony. If you're going to deal with Columbus, instead of Patrick Laine, why not Kent Johnson? I would pay so much more for Kent Johnson.
Well,
than I would
because Janssen, I don't know if he wants out just yet, but we know Laine does. B, Laine is in the player assistance program, so obviously there's a change of scenery that's needed there, you would think. C, Laine is a huge contract, of course, and so there's the differences, but there's not a lot of teams that want to give up on their young players because their young players are young players. And like, for example, I love Holtz with New Jersey. I don't think they're going to give up on him.
They shouldn't.
I mean, I think he could develop into a 30-goal scorer in the National Hockey League. Call me crazy. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. I don't know. But I saw him in Utica. He can score goals.
Yeah.
He can score goals. All right. Trevor Zegras. Oh, I received a voicemail today. Let me see if I can tell you who it was from. Hold on a second. This is very much appreciated, by the way. I didn't even know that you could leave voicemails, by the way, on Twitter.
That's interesting.
I didn't know that.
Huh.
Okay. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can play it.
Is this about Niche Cash?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but I have to step up here. I'll just give a little help. It's not Nisic. It's not Nikesh. His name is Martin Nechas. So sorry.
No need to be sorry. This coming from Mate, who said it's Martin Nechas.
Yep. Martin Nechas.
Yeah. I stand corrected. So it's not Martin Nishkash.
No.
And it's Martin Nechas. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So he said, Martin Nechas or Trevor Zegras?
Neither.
Neither.
I'm not. Listen, Carolina.
You're supposed to say it depends on what the price to pay is.
I
mean, if the
know,
price
I
to
know
pay
what the-
is not a lot, how can you say neither?
But I know the price is too high. That's the thing. I know Carolina is going to want a big return for Nate just because they believe he's going to be a star. I think he's a second
If they
liner.
believe he's going to be a star, they're not going to trade him.
They don't think they can sign him. That's the thing. They're against the cap here and they're screwed. So they have to get rid of him because he's gonna command at least a $7 or $8 million deal. Which,
well, there's other players on that team that I'd get rid of before him.
I know, but
Teravainen had a very disappointing season, by the way.
Again,
I know that because I had him in my pool.
How much is he making though? I don't know.
You know,
is he easy to get rid of? Right?
I know that because I had him in my pool. All right. Any other burning Montreal Canadiens questions that are?
Oh, we got another.
Oh, would you trade Mike Matheson to get a top 6, maybe top 10 in the draft? Yes or no?
Top 6 forward.
Or a top 6 forward.
It hurts. I don't want to do it. I don't want to. But if you look logistically speaking, you're deep at lefty, right? Mike is a bit older, but still a fantastic piece to this team. If you get an actual top 6 forward every day of the week, right?
Yeah.
I'd consider it.
Well, I've said no every single time to trading Mike Matheson, but here's the deal. If you exhaust all avenues and you can't get that top 6 help right away, if that's the last resort,
there you go. But
I would exhaust other avenues.
Exactly,
obviously.
because we've seen Matheson's
but it's hard to imagine Matheson having a better season than he had this year. Let's be honest.
Of course. But again, it's not all about what he brings on the ice. It's also what he brings off the ice. This guy is a leader.
True.
All right. He is a leader on this team in the community.
Yes.
I've gotten a chance to speak with Rob and Lane Hudson. Mike was a big help for Lane in the beginning.
Yes.
He was helping him into the NHL, right? He is.
Yes, but what Mike is bringing to the Montreal Canadiens will be carried down to Caden Gooley to other players, and other players are going to do the same that he's doing. You understand? So,
but they're not there yet.
No, they're not there yet. I agree with everything you just said. All right. He's a big time leader on the team, but don't forget. And once again, I've said on numerous occasions, I'm not looking to trade Mike Matheson, and I'm going to repeat again. If I exhausted all avenues and I couldn't get the top 6 help, then I would look at it. Don't forget, this is a business. And it's like the stock market. And you're supposed to buy low and sell high. They got him on the low.
Yeah.
They gave up Jeff Petrie for this guy. And he just had the best season of his career, and he's going to be hard-pressed to have a better season than this. Now, the good thing with Matheson is that even though he's going to get older like we all do, and Father Time at one point will kick in, he skates unbelievably well. He glides. And so his skating is not going to leave him anytime soon.
No.
It's not the first player that I'd wanted to move to get top 6 help. But if I've exhausted all avenues and nothing worked, then I would really have to consider it. Big time.
I mean, you're looking at a 60-point defenseman who's on a great contract. I think any team in the NHL would love to have him, but the Habs have him right now, and I don't think they want to get rid of him. I think they're, like you said, they're going to exhaust every single avenue before they get to Mike Matheson. I think, you can't call any player safe, right? Anybody's expendable, but I can't see it. I can't see a deal worth trading Mike Matheson for. I don't see one. But hey, Kent Hughes has surprised us every year so far.
He's going to make a deal at the draft.
Could you have predicted the Kirby Dach trade? Could you have predicted the Newhook trade, right? He pulls something out of nowhere, and it's like, oh my God, of course, it makes so much sense, right? I'm sure whoever they trade for, because I agree with you, they will trade, nobody's going to predict who it is. Nobody. It's going to be a player that's like, whoa, you were able to get him?
Yeah, no, I don't know about that, because Doc's name was up in conversations, not tied to the Canadiens. And so was Newhook's in January or February of that season.
Right.
And eventually they ended up being traded in the month of June. But their name was out there. So when you're saying, he's going to end up making a deal and you're probably not going to see the player coming from a mile away, you're going to know that the player was available.
There's going to be rumblings, but it's not going to be one of those big names. That's why I said Natchez and Zegras. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think it's going to be someone that people are talking a bit less about. Right now, their value is rising, and it's because of these conversations. People are saying, "Oh, let's give this for Zegras, this for Natchez," and then it keeps piling on and piling on and piling on.
Yeah,
that's a strategy right there, right? The teams want those names to be out there. They want a bidding war. I don't want the Habs to be a part of that bidding war. They don't need to be.
Look, we have a couple of very interesting weeks up ahead, right? Today is Thursday, June 13. And next week is the week before the draft.
Yep.
And then, of course, the week after that is this draft week. Speaking of which, on the 24th of June, we're going to be off for Saint Jean-Baptiste. Of course, there's going to be no podcast on the Monday. But then the Tuesday, the Wednesday, the Thursday, the Friday, and the Saturday, we're going to be broadcasting live from Las Vegas.
We are off.
And that is going to be brought to you. Our 2024 NHL draft coverage is going to be brought to you by Betway, a leading global online betting and gaming brand that offers you a leading betting experience. You can go on betway.com or scan the QR code to join the action. Must be 18 and over and play responsibly. And so we thank them for that. Also brought to you in part the Sick Podcast. We want to thank the people at Terry and Costa, who are the people behind Souvlaki Authentique, family-operated Greek restaurants with 7 locations. And we were in Lachine a couple of weeks ago and hung out with the lovely Sue. And Sue is here again today in Boisbriand. And the hospitality has been absolutely outstanding. The food has been absolutely terrific. The customer service has been second to none. I think I can say, and I speak for Agnello when I say this, that we feel at home here.
Oh, yeah.
We definitely feel at home here. And so I want to thank them for having us. It's very, very, very much appreciated. Once again, I want to thank all of you for watching and listening. You can follow us on all social media platforms. You can listen to us on Spotify or Apple or Google Podcasts, and you can watch us, of course, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. You can see a bunch of teaser clips out there on Instagram, on our posts, on our stories. Tell your friends about the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro. It's absolutely free to follow, absolutely free. Check us out on application X, formerly known as Twitter, at the Sick Podcast. Can I give you a mention too? Can I? Yes? All right. Okay. I'd like to thank Liz Farnese. Liz and I, we go back a long ways. We used to work together in radio, and she's here on site at Souvlaki Authentique, and she's the one who put everything together. So I want to thank her for all her help. And Shayne Gaumond on Master Control. I want to thank everyone down for coming, as well as Jimmy, formerly from the Foulam restaurants, who's here helping us out now. Jimmy, thank you very much. A big part of our team. Thank you, Jimmy. Sammy, Juliana, the entire Cavallaro family. They even brought Joey along. God bless. What can I tell you? All right. Okay. For all of us here from Souvlaki Authentique, earlier in the day, you're going to be watching us later at night. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for supporting the show. And we're going to continue with our Montreal Canadiens coverage. Once again, it goes 12 months a year right here on the Sick Podcast. And the next couple of weeks are going to be some of the most exciting weeks of the season. And you're going to have to watch. And it's going to be worth it. That's a promise I make you. It's the Sick Podcast. Have a good one. Ciao, ciao.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. Bittt, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.